Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm gonna tell you how you should prepare for Infosys interview and how you can crack it. So I made a list of questions that will really gonna help you for your interview. So these are the questions they're gonna ask you in interview. Like, tell me about yourself. This is a definitely gunshot question. So you need to introduce yourself with your name, with your college, with your branch, with your skills, with your projects, internships and languages and tech that you used in your projects. So once you're done with this question, answering this question, they're gonna ask you explain about your projects. So you should they're gonna ask you about your major project. So you should know what role you did in that project. I mean, what you did do in that project, and what are the challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome it. So you should know how to answer the questions related to your projects. And then they're gonna ask you what is OOPS, that is object oriented programming language. This is a most important and gunshot question they're gonna definitely ask you, so be prepared with that. And then they're gonna ask you about SDLC, software development life cycle. This is also one of the most gunshot question. You guys don't need to worry, because I prepared all the questions along with the videos, explanation and resources, so you guys can prepare from this link. So yeah, so they're gonna ask you the difference between, sometimes they're gonna ask you the difference between agile and SDLC, so you should know how to answer that. And they're gonna ask you which language are you comfortable with. If you say like Java or Python, they're gonna ask the question relate to that languages. So, and they're gonna ask you what is a runtime error and what is compile time error. You should know the difference between them. And now they're gonna ask you what is platform independency and what is a C language is a platform independent. Platform independent in the sense is you code once and run it anywhere, and you can run it in any OS. And C is not platform independent, as C doesn't have any virtual machine like Java and Python. And so you say the answer is no. And they're gonna ask you call by reference and call by value. This is the most important question. This question is asked more than 20 candidates, so you should better prepare this question. And they're gonna ask you the difference between local variable and global variable. Sometimes they're gonna ask you, explain it with example. So whatever the question they're asking you, make sure that you explain with an example, so that interviewer will know that you have thorough with this concept. Okay. And they're gonna ask you the difference between static and non-static. This is also most important question. Static methods and non-static methods. Static method they can call using class. We don't need to create objects for that. Whereas non-static, we need to create object for that. Okay. And next they're gonna ask you the data abstraction, data hiding. Again, this is a concept of OOPS. So once you prepare the OOPS, you can answer this question easily. And they're gonna ask you what are interfaces in Java, if you mention Java in your resume. And they're gonna ask you what is abstract class. The only difference between interface and abstract class is abstract class can have normal methods as well as abstract methods, but whereas interface, everything, whatever the method you define, by default it is abstract. You don't need to mention any abstract keyword, whereas in abstract class we will mention abstract keyword for abstract methods. So there are some differences. You can go through this link and you can prepare by yourself. And next they're gonna ask you, does Java support multiple inheritance? No, Java doesn't support multiple inheritance through classes, but it can support through interfaces. So you should know so if you're thorough with interfaces, classes and abstract classes, you're going to answer this question easily. And later they're gonna ask you they ask this question to some candidates, like what are the trending technology. You should be thorough at least with definition and what it does, examples. So like AI, ML, DL, IoT, blockchain, big data, etc. So based on that, they're gonna ask you, like if you answer like big data and all, they're gonna ask you what is big data, what is AI, how AI changing our world, all general questions. You can answer that. And sometimes they're gonna ask you like this, Indian Mars to mission and all. So you should know some general knowledge questions as well. And they're gonna ask you the difference between AI, ML and all. So you can answer that. And what is cloud computing, they're gonna ask you that. What is data science, and what is C, why it is used. You should know that C language is like statically typed language, that it is a faster to high level language. It is faster than Java, C++, and all, and it is used for building operating system like Linux. It is built on using C. Even Windows also use C to create operating systems. You can tell that. And they're gonna ask you the difference between Java, Python, C, or any languages. Sometimes they're gonna ask you .NET as well if you mention in your certificate. So you should know what are the difference between them. Like example, what is the difference between C, C++, and Java and Python? You can say that C is not OOPS language, whereas C++, Java, and Python are OOPS languages. And C and C++ are used to develop standalone applications, and they don't support platform independency because C and C++ don't have any virtual machine, whereas Java and Python support platform independency because they have a virtual machine. And note that Python is dynamically typed language, whereas Java is statically typed language. So you can say these three are statically typed, and whereas Python is dynamically typed. Okay, and they're gonna ask you the applications of C, C++, and Java. C++ is used for game development, whereas C is used for operating system, and Java is used for enterprise applications, for making mobile apps, websites. Backend they're gonna use Java, and same Python. Python is AI is booming, right? That's why Python is famous. So you can say Python is used to make AI applications, ML and all, and statistics and all. And you can also say Python can be used in mobile website development. We have Django framework, and there are many more much use cases. Python can also be used to develop desktop applications. So they can also be used to develop games as well. That's why Python is so famous, because it is almost in all fields. Okay, what are the programs they're gonna ask you? Sometimes they're gonna ask you, these are the common programs. They're gonna ask you whether share the screen and write the code, or they're gonna ask you the logic. So you should be thorough with these programs like palindrome program, prime number program, Fibonacci, recursion, and pass by value and path by reference in C. They're gonna ask you these programs. They're gonna also ask you the factorial, recursion. So be thorough with that. Sometimes if you're from CSC background, sometimes they're gonna ask you the linked list logic, or so you should be thorough with that, or round robin logic, etc. And also searching algorithm like quicksort, bubble sort, and merge sort. You should know the logic. I mean how it works. You should explain them. And also leap year. This reversing a string is a most commonly asked question to many candidates. So like they're gonna ask you how to reverse a string in Python, C, or Java. So you should be thorough in the languages that you mentioned in your resume. And they're gonna ask you perfect square or not, and LCM and all. Don't worry, I have posted all the code along with the video explanation which I found best on YouTube, and also resources. So once you go through this link, I'm gonna share it. You will understand how to prepare for for the interview. So now they're gonna ask you this question: the C support method overloading and method overriding. You should know the method overloading. What is method overloading and what is method overriding? And they're gonna ask you, does C support method overloading? The answer is no. C does not support method overloading or method overriding because C is not a OOPS language. Method overloading only works with class and object class inheritance concept. So C doesn't has any class, so it's not going to support method overriding as well as method overloading. And next they're gonna ask you the give the examples of linear data structures. So like array, linked list, stack, queue. You have to give an example and explain why it is linear. And they also are gonna ask you what is non-linear data structures, like a tree, graph, etc. So yeah, sometimes if you mentioned any like certification on networking, they're definitely gonna ask you the difference between IPv4 and IPv6. And also they're gonna ask you what is OSI model. So try to be prepare these questions. And also sometimes rarely they're gonna ask you what is OS, what are types of OS. You have to prepare that. And now it comes to DBMS. These questions, damn, they're gonna ask you, even if you don't mention in your resume. So don't give a chance to, you prepare what is DBMS. You should prepare what is DBMS and what are the types of DBMS and what is normalization. 99.9% I can give you assurance that they're gonna ask you what is normalization and its types, and also what are joins. These questions are gunshot questions, so please be prepared with that. And also they're gonna ask you basic question: what is SQL, structured query language, why it is used, and all. And they're gonna ask you, it's a case sensitive. No, SQL is not case sensitive, and definitely they're gonna ask you these questions: what is foreign key, what is primary key, what is unique key, and what. You should prepare all these keys and the differences. So I have mentioned great tutorial that is available on YouTube that really helped me to understand the concept. So yeah, these are 3 videos. First you watch this video, and then you watch this one if you understand English. Otherwise you can watch this Hindi video. If you watch this video now, like it takes hardly like 1 hour, but you will be thorough with the concept. You can explain them with example. Sometimes you're gonna ask you the difference between primary key and primary key for a unique key. So you should be prepared. They're gonna ask you difference between var and char and all the basic HTML queries. This ACID properties, relation data that is most important question, as well as the different types of languages. So this is also most important, and rest of the, like, sometimes they're gonna ask you or not. And this is the HR questions. You should answer in your own way. So be prepared with. So don't say after 5 years I'm gonna be CEO of your company. That's gonna be they're gonna laugh at you. Don't say that. You say something which is possible in 5 years. Okay. And why should I hire you? You should tell them. If they ask you this question now, you should be prepared. Like, you're good at something. You're good at like trending technology, and you're this. You can make info. You can use your skills in this organization, and you can grow yourself as well as the organization. You have to answer in your unique way and own way. Don't copy from others. They're gonna know it. Okay. So try to prepare this HR question on your own, because you should be unique and different. You should impress them. That's why you should prepare it. Watch some videos how to prepare, and prepare it. And whenever they ask you this question, definitely say yes. And will you like to relocate? Yes. If you say no to any of this question, the chances of rejection are like 80%. So don't take a chance. Okay, this is your first job, right? So don't take a chance. So yeah, if you click on the link, this page will be opened, and all the questions will be there for you. So you don't need to go here and there. You can just prepare by yourself just by scrolling down and reading questions. Okay, so that's it. So that's a video. And finally I'm gonna tell you my interview experience. So the interview asked me, first it told me about how introduce yourself. So I prepared a lot. I prepared better after watching some videos, and I wrote it down how to uniquely present myself. So and my introduction was great, and later he asked me about my project. So my core skills are Python, and I did many internships. So my project was like for a deep learning project. So I explained him with the example, and also told him what was my role and what are the challenges that overcome. So after explaining all this, it took me like around 4 to 5 minutes. So then it didn't ask me any technical question. It directly asked me the HR question, like what is good and what is bad according to you. So I said good is something as long as you don't hurt anyone or anyone emotion, and work on your own. So that's what I answered. And later he asked me to, do you have any questions for me? This I asked him like what are the challenges that I'm gonna face as a fresher, and how can I overcome it. And then he asked how was the work culture at Infosys. So you should be definitely gonna prepare these questions. You should ask at least 2 or 3 questions to the interview, so that you get experience. That's it. Thank you.